Miko, are you fine for this to be recorded?
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for joining us here on our second session of Strength Through Stress. So we will be talking about technology, information, and nature in the realm of social psychology and sociology. All right, so again, this is brought to you by Manuel from Top Virtual Staffing Solutions. And we're here in the clinic of AAA Physical Therapy because we also focus on health and wellness in that regard. Okay, so one of the values that we have is to go ahead and grow. And this is what one of the things that we're trying to go ahead and do, wherein hopefully we can grow out of the current situation that we are in and learn. That's why we're facilitating these Strength Through Stress workshops for free. And hopefully we could all learn from one another. And the third one is innovate. So we're facilitating these workshops online, and hopefully, again, it would be helpful. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and contact us with any of the information identified here. And please, speaking of social or wherever we're doing right now, feel free to follow us on all of our social media accounts. That would be awesome. Thank you. All right, so if you do participate in the future, the implicit consent here is if you do sign in, you are giving us consent and authority to use these videos and possibly your images and so on and so forth for our marketing and publication purposes. So that's implicit consent if you do participate here. All right, some ground rules. Respect. Because this is open to the community, we need to go ahead and make sure that respect is provided as much as possible. And we want you guys to go ahead and participate accordingly. And we want this to be as interactive as possible, whether through verbal or chat or through email. Next is, I know this is going to be public, but we still want to maintain some level of confidentiality in one shape or form here. So if you don't want to be known as such, you can go ahead and change your name, and you don't have to share specifics if you do participate in our discussions here. So I have to go and discuss my background. Apparently that's important. So my bachelor's is in psychology. I have my graduate degree in counseling, where I earned summa cum laude level, and I'm a dissertation away for post-secondary and adult education.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 decades of teaching in psychology and counseling courses, also behavioral health sciences, and of course, stress management for that matter. Excuse me. And I'm one of the owners of a physical therapy from before, and I'm helping them out in other portions here. And right now, I am putting my focus on Top Virtual Staffing Solutions, or TVSS. They go ahead and ask, what is TVSS? So from this picture right here, this is one of the tutorials that we have that we are able to provide for kids or adults or anybody else for that matter. And yes, we're a remote staffing agency, so whatever staffing needs that you require, this is where we go ahead and come in. But enough about us. Let's go ahead and move on in terms of other things. So why is it called Strength Through Stress? It's actually a little bit of a misnomer. Miko, do you remember what I discussed here in the first session?
Yes.
Okay, care to share why it's a misnomer?
I can't really get the...
That's fine. All right, that's fine. So the typical course title is stress management, but we do not manage stress, okay? Stressors are all around us, and it's how we work and perceive such situations and how we work with it. So as we are recording this in real time, we're still in the middle of, or the beginning, or wherever we are in this pandemic with the COVID-19 situation. So it is a stressful situation. But how do we work with this? And so with this picture right here, everybody's exposed to exactly the same thing, but who's going to crack under pressure, or who's going to crack with this situation? So again, we don't manage COVID-19. We manage what we do, such as staying at home and working virtually, just like this session right here. So we manage all of those. But COVID-19, we don't have anything to do with it unless if you're a virologist or you're a medical researcher trying to find ways to find the best to identify vaccination out there. But other than that, for individuals like me that can't really do much about that, what can I do with this specific stressor? And again, this is the reason why Strength Through Stress is the title. And speaking of strength through stress, we want to focus on the positive. All right. So we are in the stressful situation. What do we do in order to become positive here? Because stress management seems to be a little bit on the negative side. And why is it strength through stress? Do you remember this picture, Miko? And do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it, Miko? Go ahead.
I can't really remember.
Okay, that's fine. We're fine. All right. So, why do we exercise? Why do we work out? We're in a physical therapy clinic right now. So for the most part, we do exercises here, stretches and the legs. But just like what our physical body is, we need to go through stress to give us strength. Okay? Just like this guy right here, I don't know if that's a 100-pound plate or 50-pound plate each. So that's about, what, let's say 50 pounds per plate. So that's 200 pounds on one side, 200 pounds on the other side. That's 400 pounds right there doing this press. If you give that to me, yes, I will be overwhelmed. I don't think I can do that. But for him to train and be able to do this, he trained starting with 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds. So he continued to add stress to his physical body in order to gain the strength in order to be able to pull this off. So for us, yes, we are in this situation right now, but hopefully we're able to gain the strength that we need in order to pull whatever weight that we are carrying. That makes sense, Miko?
Yes.
All right. If you have any questions, just raise your hand, okay? All right. So why is it free? There's so many people doing good things right now. Unsung heroes such as people doing groceries, and of course, the people in the front line who are really, really essential, especially the medical people and anybody else working in the hospitals and medical centers. So right now in the clinic, our light is blue on the outside. The reason being is we want to go and pay tribute to all of these medical practitioners out there and everybody else working in the hospitals. Thank you. So why is this free? One of the things that we do here at Top Virtual Staffing Solutions is to provide virtual companionship. Even before COVID-19, social isolation seems to be a problem already. And feel free to go ahead and watch this video on our channel wherein I discuss this a little bit more. Why free? You guys can see Miko here. So Miko's very important for me personally and here as well professionally. And for example, you saw his video, saw his picture earlier doing keyboard or piano tutorial. Here he is learning HTML and CSS for his tutorial. So if you want to learn the subject matter out there, feel free to go ahead and reach out to us. But the reason why this is free is because I'm doing this for Miko specifically as well, because these are some of the few things that I can leave behind just in case. Because life is finite. I'm just trying to go ahead and do something worthwhile and hopefully leave him something that is meaningful to him, hopefully, and helpful to him in one shape or form. And why free? Because again, in this world of ours, we need to continuously be physically distant, but we need to be socially connected. So this is our own small way for us to connect with each and every one of you on this planet. And hopefully be able to go ahead and discuss something like this. Why free? We would love for you guys to go ahead and donate to worthwhile causes instead. And for this session, so every session I'm going to highlight some organization out there that does a lot of good things. So last session we're talking about contributing to your local church. For this session, we want you guys to go ahead and be more familiar with FIRN, at least here in Howard County. It's a nonprofit organization in terms of empowering immigrants, refugees, asylees, and foreign-born individuals for that matter, especially right now where things could be a little bit of a challenge, especially for this population. So I just want to go ahead and give a shout out for them and all the good things that they do. And feel free to go ahead and check their website out, and feel free to share and or donate. So why free? Again, we want to go ahead and identify what you guys want to address. And if you have questions, it's all about you. So right now, at least for this specific recording or this specific live version, Mika is the only participant, so there. But if you get to watch this on your own time, feel free to shoot us an email or contact us in any of the social media accounts here. All right, let's go and begin the class now, or the session. Sociology of stress. It is a science, and I'll focus on the word science, of the development, structure, and function of human beings as a group, okay? So family is the basic unit of society, at least that's what one of many theories out there, or the way they define it. And family could be very flexible, if you may. So at least with this picture, this seems to be the typical family, but it's possible that there are some step siblings here, okay? And different types of genders and stuff like that. So what I mean by different types of gender is that it's possible that it's a male or female in a family situation, and they adopted kids. And so when you go ahead and identify family, it involves both traditional and non-traditional families, and we grow beyond that. So with organizations, and then right now with the boom of social media, and we will be talking more about that as we proceed here. That's part of sociology right there, on what's the science behind all of these impacting us as human beings and how we're able to function. The other one is social psychology of stress. Again, it's the key word here, science, but we are studying the individual, not the unit, not the big organizations and the likes. You're studying one individual and how that individual's thoughts, feelings, and behavior is changed, modified, or impacted in a given society. So right now, globally, we are affected by this COVID-19 situation. And we're getting information through all of these social media outlets out there, news outlets, and so on and so forth. And again, we'll be talking more about this, how it's impacting us as an individual, and how do we think, how do we feel, and how do we behave. And so, for example, for me, my thoughts are, again, if you watched the first video, yes, I was very much impacted by what's going on. So for 1 week, I was very, very non-functional. So I just slept, watched a whole bunch of movies, binge watch, and so on and so forth. So not really functional, not really good. I got out of that funk, and here I am, hopefully trying to go ahead and do something positive for others. Okay, so those are the thoughts, and then the feelings I was impacted, but let's go ahead and change that to something. And hopefully I've gained the strength on how we can go ahead and proceed here. And the behavior is, I'm not sure if COVID-19 didn't happen. I don't know if I'll be doing this. So who knows? Well, one thing for sure, though, I'll still be recording videos for Miko in one shape or form for any messages I want to go ahead and leave for him. But other than that, that's what it is. So this is the individual in the bigger schemes of how the society is. All right, let's move on. Let's focus on a little bit more with techno-stress, because right now we're rather dependent in technology. So one of the things, of the challenges, is the pressure to keep up with whoever or whatever. So we need to be concerned about that. Facebook studies, I'll discuss this on the next slide. And then let me ask you, Miko, do you think technology is the problem right now or the user? Who do you think, or what do you think is the problem in terms of giving stress in relation to technology?
I would say both.
You would say both. Okay. Care to explain your thoughts about it?
Because the technology can be slowing down or not doing what you mean it to do.
You're absolutely correct. And I know the computer that you are using is, we had problems there, but we're able to fix things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
And then sometimes it's the user who gets all the stress.
Because
It's not doing, the computer is not doing what it's supposed to do. So it's stressing the user out more.
okay. I kind of get the logic behind that. But let me share a little bit more, just going back to Facebook studies here, is that. And this is what I would really share with everyone. Hopefully you guys get to watch this video, so feel free to go ahead and search Nicholas Thompson in terms of the future of being human. And this was last year, so this is obviously before COVID-19. But upon watching this video, it's rather enlightening, and how he can go ahead and view things, especially with our reality right now. But yes, I understand we have a Facebook page on our own specifically. But just like the question earlier, is the problem the technology or the user? Facebook is great, obviously. There are so many users out there, it generates a lot of money, and so on and so forth. But in relation to happiness, as you could go ahead and see here, let me be fancy and use the highlighter. All right, Facebook, 64% of users are unhappy. And if you use this for about 1 hour a day. So more than half of us are not happy when we're spending this much time here. Now, I'm not going to say Facebook is bad or evil. So it's not the technology per se. It's the user. How are we actually using this? If we're using it to go ahead and help us and be informed, great. If not, then, and again, when we move on through the next few slides here, we will discuss this a little bit more and how we're doing things. I'm checking the time, just while I'm looking down here in terms of where we are. And I have no idea what Grindr is. I believe Candy Crush is a game. Is that correct, Miko? I think.
I'm not the expert there.
Have you heard of that?
I think so.
And I think it's a game on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have
Sure.
the what? I'm sorry?
I'm not entirely sure.
Not entirely sure. All right, that's fine. I'm glad you don't know. I'll be concerned if you know. Because Because here's the deal, you spend 50 minutes on it, 70%, 71% are not happy. I don't know the difference of Saga versus just basic Candy Crush, but more than half of us are not happy if we spend more time, if we spend more than 30 minutes on these things. So that's why, yes, technology is there, but how are we using them? I really don't know what to do with Candy Crush. I can't really speak much to it. Okay, but again, just pay attention how we're using things. Now let's look at the positive side. Yeah, if you're using Waze and you're able to get from point A to point B in a rather simple and fast manner, why not? And here we are, we got Fitness Pal, and we got Google Calendar to help you go and fix your schedule, especially right now wherein day seems to be mixed up of a Monday versus a Sunday and Thursday. Okay, and then other systems wherein you go ahead and be able to meditate, such as Calm and Headspace. So no, I'm not trying to go ahead and promote one from the other, but it's just a matter of how we use them. That's a critical key. And if you want to go ahead and learn more of what it is to be human, especially in this world right now, wherein we're living and working remotely further, feel free to go ahead and watch this video right here. Yeah, I'm highlighting this gentleman right here. All right, let's move on. Digital communication response time. Ooh, we have sensors here in our clinic. Speaking of user technology. All right. That was exciting. Digital communication response time. Miko, you have been receiving email messages from some of your relatives, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then sometimes you feel a little bit pressured that you have to respond to them.
That's a very, very, very good question.
Or somebody, if a family member texts you, hey Miko, how are you doing? Or do you want to go ahead and play Scrabble online, and so on and so forth? Do you feel just a little bit, just at least a little bit of pressure that, oh yeah, I have to respond to this? Yes or no? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that. He's 9 years old and he's got his own email account, and he's communicating with his tutors, he's communicating with relatives and other loved ones, and slowly I'm just delegating these things to him. And then at the same time, communication from his school, because he has to go ahead and participate online now to continue with education in that regard. And so, and all of us adults, whatever generation you're in, especially right now where everything is technology based and there's not human to human interaction. Because human to human interaction, right now, I just asked Miko that question. And I know we're in the video, but he had to ask that question. But we've had conversations wherein some relatives are emailing him, and yeah, it would be good for him to respond. Before his school closed, I asked him, hey, I think it would be good for you to email your teachers because you're going to miss that Friday because they close on a Monday. You remember that, Miko?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the discipline on when you're going to respond or initiate that communication. And these are critical components in our world right now, and each and every one of us are learning how to go about it. Any questions so far?
No.
None? Okay. Next up is privacy. So I'm hearing some news out there wherein whenever you're using all of these systems, it may not necessarily be as secure, but the system that we're using here, we know we have the strongest standards, if you may. But obviously, if we're going to publish this, then obviously whatever information that you get to share out there, that's that. So no, I'm not going to share here what my social security number is, or when Miko's birthday is. No, we're not going to discuss that here because this is public. But for other information out there, when you need to go ahead and meet privacy-wise, you guys need to go and make sure that your technology is as secure as possible, and so on and so forth. So I'm not a tech person. The little thing that I know, and all I know is, at least with the system that we're using, if we need to meet and really have it secure, whatever system that we're using, we know we have that capability, as well as in how we are connected to the internet through Wi-Fi. Right, another thing regarding Techno-Stress, the ethics behind it. Okay, how do we know what's good from bad? I mean, hopefully we do know. And again, the reason why I'm engaging Miko as early as now with all of these things, so we could go ahead and learn these things. Because even for me, there are certain things wherein I'm not too sure if that's cool to discuss. So I have attended way too many meetings out there online right now. And there's some behaviors, backgrounds, and what have you that seems to be questionable, at least. Okay? So we have to be very careful, because I understand if the background is your home, then you have pretty much every right on what you want to have displayed on your background. But is it rather professional? That's questionable. And so on and so forth. So where and how do we draw the line there? And how do we participate? Because earlier I was in a meeting and everybody seems to be asking a question. And it seems like everybody was trying to ask a question all at the same time. So just the same thing in a face-to-face thing. Ideally, you go ahead and raise your hand. That I have a question, I have something to go ahead and share. So, Miko, is that something that in school that you guys talked about? If you're in a group, online meeting.
Yes, they did talk about raising your hand when you have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a raise hand button on Google Meet, I think.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Oh, go ahead.
That's what we're going to use, Google Meet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So kids are being taught that. Us as adults, all of a sudden, if you've never done this, all of a sudden you do not know how to participate. So for me, there's so many people asking questions all at the same time. I just ended up chatting it and see if the host or the speaker will go ahead and pick it up. So these things, all of us are navigating on what is ethical and not ethical. Because now if I want to ask a specific question to somebody and it has nothing to do with the group, and now you're kind of wasting everybody else's time now. So would you be able to just chat individually, just in case if you have specific questions that has nothing to do with the conversation? So all of these things, just be aware, be familiar with, and let's all learn how to go and work with it. All right, next is Techno-Stress in relation to ethics. What are the boundaries? Okay. Or the boundaries on how we communicate. It's just like how we are falling off the cliff here. Okay. Or is it this boundary right here seems to be stable, but it's still a little bit see-through. And I'm not sure how this is right here. Speaking of chat, I'm seeing a chat here. What if you are doing something that is not good or not bad? That's okay. That's rather neutral. Thank you for asking that question. Mika, feel free to just ask. That's okay. All right. So whatever you're doing or not doing, just learn how to go about it. So again, for example, in some of the videos that I'm seeing, because you're at home, now all of a sudden you go and stand up and prepare something in the kitchen while you're in the meeting. So even I myself, I do not know if that's right or wrong. But if we're in a real life meeting with person to person, your kitchen is not behind you, so you're not doing that. And I know there's so many videos out there wherein the dogs come up, pets come up, kids or parents. When Miko had a meeting in his school, I thought us parents were included in the orientation until I realized, oh wait, I'm the only parent here. So I had to back out and just let Miko do his thing. Right, Miko?
Yeah.
So again, I wasn't too sure what's going on. So when I realized, okay, I'm the only adult here aside from the teachers and the faculty, so I just moved out of the way. But I thought parents and guardians are included. Anyway, so this is where, how do we draw boundaries here? I mean, obviously the kids, younger kids wouldn't understand that they're at work when they're in a video conference. And how do you lock yourself up, or how do you put in that discipline? No doubt, it's a challenge out there. All right. Let's go and move on here. Techno-Stress. Oop, it doubled. Sorry about that. Next one is accessibility. So how are you able to connect out there? That's one. And connect securely. And the other question is, if you're able to connect, how do you know how to use it? And so I'm not saying that in a condescending way. It's just a matter of fact. How do we navigate such things? How do we work with such things? Okay. And last but not the least, Nico, just like what you said earlier, sometimes the technology is the problem. So meaning something is not functioning well. Or what if? And this what if is a reality out there, that other people don't even have a computer and or a smartphone, and so on and so forth. How are they working and living right now in that regard? Or maybe they have these technologies, but they don't have the ability to go ahead and connect to each and every one of us, at least electronically. So from an accessibility standpoint, how is that adding to the stress? What are the solutions out there? And so on and so forth. So at least with Miko's school, they did a survey. Do you want to talk more about that, Miko? About the survey and technology, wherein they sent out computers and so on.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay. So that's what they did. They did a survey, who needs a little bit more help, and so on and so forth. So I'm really proud of our school system here, trying to help out everyone as much as possible, given these really challenging situations. Okay, the next one is generational divide. So people who are senior, my senior, they actually would know more about technology more than I do. So we can't just put a blanket statement on who knows more with what. Okay. So with Miko, I'm glad he doesn't know what Candy Crush is or whatever that was, because you don't play. But you are involved in technology, such as, okay, playing Scrabble with people that you know, and then at the same time, the programming and your tutoring through online, and hopefully that's helping you transition well enough when you are in school doing online stuff. But tell me, Miko, is that accurate? Is that an accurate assessment?
I'm sorry?
Is that an accurate? Yes. I don't know if your video is on freeze here or on pause.
Most likely on freeze.
On freeze? Did it freeze up? Okay, now I'm seeing it.
Okay, right. So can you repeat the question?
Okay. You don't play video games much, correct?
No.
Okay. So with you not doing that, but you are doing other things with technology, such as learning keyboard online and learning programming, you are now involved a little bit more with more meaningful stuff in terms of technology, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that way you don't feel super left out when it comes to technology because you don't play video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Cool, so let's move on. Next is screen addiction. Guess what? This was already a problem before COVID-19. And right now we are forced to be at home, rightfully so, and how much more we become super dependent on screens. So again, it's a matter of how we use it, how we use technology to our benefit and to our advantage. That's the important thing. And hopefully we will be able to learn how to work with technology and not technology controlling us. All right. The other important thing, scientific or critical thinking, and in relation to the information that we receive. There's so many information out there, and you go ahead and identify if it's accurate, if it's true, and there's a lot of other misleading and confusing information out there in all levels. And this is where your scientific thinking or critical thinking will go ahead and come in, and how you deal with the information that you're working with. And so with critical thinking or scientific thinking is that you go ahead and identify, are these information based on facts, or this is an opinion? Because if it's opinion, then that could be as faulty as you can get. But if there's scientific research behind it, then you feel a little bit more confident with whatever information that you're getting. Especially right now. I can't emphasize it enough that we need to be critical on whatever information that we're getting and how we're getting it and from whom. So that's my PSA out there. Be careful of what you go ahead and consume. Just the same thing with food anyway. If you consume junk food all the time, is that going to be good, Miko, for your health? Hmm?
No.
No. Okay. So if you're consuming junk in terms of information, that's not going to be good for your brain and how you process things and how you're going to make decisions. How are you going to make informed decisions, if you may? Okay. So just be careful and be really, really critical with whatever information that you're getting and processing. More about techno-stress, and I'm asking this question: civility. How do we become civilized, or to civility in terms of how we go ahead and interact and work with one another? So I know Dr. King is one of the champions out there in terms of the civil rights movement. But are we going to be a little bit more civilized right now during or after COVID-19? And that's a question I want to go ahead and ask everyone. That's a challenge. Because it's really interesting where I'm driving. Yeah, I went to the grocery to go ahead and shop for the week, or the typical groceries that I've shopped. And there's this car behind me, just tailgating. And there are no other cars around, and I'm driving the speed limit. And this car is tailgating me like crazy. I don't understand. It's not rush hour. I know we're supposed to stay at home, so hopefully there's no emergency for that person. But it's just amazing that there's only two cars, my car and that car, and tailgating me like crazy. It's scary how we are going to continue to be with where we are right now. It's scary how we are after this. But hopefully, we continue to go ahead and find ways to be civilized with whatever it is that we're doing. Nature discord. We have to stay at home. So how can we be out there with nature? Again, this problem already exists before COVID-19. How much more right now? And I'm seeing a whole bunch of other studies right there that we could be a little bit more deficient with vitamin D because we can't go out, rightfully so. So how do we find that balance? How do we strike that balance? So we really, really need to be careful about this. And so however you can go ahead and find ways to be in nature, get some sunlight in a very safe way, please make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Next is occupational stress, or no work for that matter. Unfortunately, right now, there are so many people filing for unemployment. These are really challenging times, no doubt. Okay? Or how are you adjusting now that you have shifted your work remotely? So for people who have not been working remotely or using such systems, now your workload increases because now you have to learn new things. All right. So for example, when I attended a session wherein there's a community college speaker talking about it, and they were actually also surprised, and even how many of their faculty are technology challenged, and how do they work with it. And I'm hearing some news as well, even for Miko's school system. That is a challenge. So now it's not only a matter of teaching students, but also working with technology. And all of the other meetings that where I'm dealing with, wherein they go ahead and share, oh, this is new to me, please bear with me. That's what they go ahead and say. Understandably, I completely understand that. So how is that adding to the stress? All I'm going to go ahead and say is, I'm glad you have work. I'm glad you're doing something. Versus somebody, and there's so many of us right now wherein people are not employed. More in techno-stress, the ism stress. You can go ahead and identify what's the word before ism, whether it's racism, ageism, sexism, and so on and so forth, ableism. So at least with this right here, the females are being pitted against the males for this chessboard, or different colored individuals. So that's already a reality even before COVID-19. But now, in this situation, how is this adding to that? And how are we dealing with it? How are we navigating such things? So that's a question and challenge for everyone. Okay. For every session moving forward, we're going to talk about Techno-Journal. It's the power of documenting your story. Miko, what do you think is the root word of journal? Or where was it derived from? What word?
Journal? I'm not sure if that's even a word.
Or journey?
Ah, journey. Yeah.
Yes.
Journeyful.
Okay. So you are documenting your story with your journey. And there's so many research behind to go ahead and support how it is important for you to journal.
Mm-hmm.
How to document whatever it is that you're going through. So for every session, this is something that we're going to talk about, or at least whatever subject matter we're dealing with. Because it's powerful because you're able to express yourself, especially if it's just only for your eyes. And there's no judgment involved. You're able to express yourself. You're able to go ahead and talk what's in your mind. And with that, you have greater awareness of the situation. So before all of these, we normally journal, writing things down. That is still powerful, no doubt. But for example, for me specifically, I did some video journals. It was great. It was very helpful for me. So when I was stuck in a little bit of funk, I did some video journals. I was able to express myself. That was great. That was really helpful. So For you out there, if you're feeling a little bit down, journal. Talk about it, record it. Make sure it's safe, that it's only you that could access it if it's not really for public consumption. And hopefully, when you go and talk it out, or write it out, or however you plan to document it, or if you're feeling a little bit artistic, draw something about it or paint it. That's completely fine, as long as you're able to express yourself in one shape or form. So that's one of the ways you can use technology. So it's user dependent on how we can use these things for positive or for good, and not for negative means. So for the first, journal. Too much information out there, especially with our current situation. Go, and in relation to the critical thinking that I identified earlier, go ahead and identify what are the ways of you getting or acquiring information. Go ahead and think about that. Process that. Miko, do you want to answer this question? But this is going to be public, so be careful. Is there anything you want to share on how you are getting your information?
Well, sometimes on my computer I use Cortana.
You use Cortana, okay. That's good. But are you always going to believe Cortana all the time, or you have to verify some of the things that Cortana would identify?
No.
No, okay. But yeah, that's a solid answer. Go ahead.
I also get information from nonfiction books, like biographies or something related to that.
That's a great
and
answer.
maybe nonfiction movies, and at my school.
All right. Great answers, Miko. That's good. So it seems like, so you think those information are more powerful versus somebody just telling you this or that without any basis none whatsoever, right? Or opinion for that matter, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Good stuff, Mika. Now, again, and that's what it is. You decipher if it's good, factual, or helpful information. And that's where the scientific thinking and critical thinking that I identified earlier. So I'm glad that you've identified nonfiction books for that matter. All right. And then what are your plans for unplugging from such information overload? Because too much information, it's just too much. So how do you deal with that? That's the important thing. All right, so thank you for joining us. Okay, so we'll see you next sessions. But before I click on the last few slides here, Miko, do you have questions for me?
No, that was my only question earlier.
Okay, all right. Care to share something that's important that you learned from tonight's session?
Techno-Stress.
Okay, what about it specifically? Anything that you are comfortable sharing with the world, not only to me?
That's the only time I really realized which one is giving the stress and getting the stress, and what the other one is doing.
Okay.
And what I'm doing.
With what you're doing and how it's related to you. But that's the key. It's how we learn how to use it. We cannot go ahead and say, nope, I will not be involved with technology. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. But how we use technology smartly, intelligently, and to serve our purpose. And to serve our purpose, hopefully it's something that's meaningful for others. And again, this is the reason why we are doing all of these videos right here, because of hopefully to share something meaningful. And I forgot, Miko, in terms of your school, I'm actually wearing his school when they did their 5K before, wherein they helped out.
Wow.
So a huge shout out from the superintendent all the way to the teachers and everybody else taking care of the school system, people taking care of the network technology. cleaning the schools, all of you guys. Shout out to you. We appreciate you. We love you. And again, thank you. All right. So the next few sessions in terms of strength through stress, that's Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern time and Thursdays 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Workout Buddy, as you saw earlier, is one of the apps out there is that you're working out with somebody. So feel free to go ahead and work out with us, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And for fun, video game, just sing with us. We're not professionals, but just that's one of the things that they've identified as a good stress buster. So Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully we'll see you. Same links for that matter. All right. References, I know I need to continue to improve to make this as APA format as possible, but these are some of the websites and the pictures are allowed by Pixabay. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Miko?
What did the I hate you do?
Oh, did it not do that? Let's see here. Oh, did I miss the press it play?
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, it's not playing. Let's see here. I need to go back to my mouse. All of a sudden I can't find it. I think it's this one. Oh well. It's a video from Pixabay. Speaking of Pixabay, yeah, I'll go ahead and figure out how to make sure that plays next time. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else then?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you guys on Monday. You guys be good. Be safe out there.